Hello and welcome to episode number, I believe, 435 of the Armen Show podcast. I have this great intro that I thought about previously, Kat. You were on in the 200s, episode 279.
Wow.
You were on in the 300s, episode 315,
Oh,
I believe.
wow.
You're now on in the 400s. Interesting on both regards that there is 200s, 300s, and 400s, but also that you've been a part of it in that way.
Where was I in the 50s and the 100s?
At that time, your existence was just ephemeral to myself. It wasn't fully realized at that point. And also, we weren't in video form. So even if you were on at that time, people wouldn't have seen you.
Oh, it was only audio back then.
Yes, up until like almost 200.
Video killed the radio star.
Take that, radio stars out there. I very much like radio. I like audio. I like text. I'm very glad to have you back on, Kat. Miss Kat Fairaway in the building.
We finally made it happen.
This is true. You know, one time she's in Cuba, I'm in Dominican Republic. Then I'm in Alaska, she's in Antarctica. Next thing you know, I'm in the Pacific Ocean, she's in the Atlantic Ocean. None of those things exactly happened, but you're back on the program. Very glad. That's super cool. Kat, we are up in, I always like to give some context, California, Los Angeles, wonderful region, pleasant. The weather is good. We're in 2024. Now, Kat, you are, I like that I put attendees, don't want to brag or anything. There's Kat Fairaway, you. There's me, Armen Shirvanian, the host of the Armen Show. I never usually mention my last name. And then the general audience, which is the internet. Kat, you are a filmmaker, actress, director, writer. You do it all. You would like to do it all. You mentioned that you liked doing everything, which I will explore later too. How are you feeling right now, October 2024?
I'm feeling great. Yeah.
This is good. This is good. This is the important thing. She's feeling great. That's the best thing you want to be. You don't want it to be too many layers or else that means
It's
complexity.
really hot still in LA.
Yes.
Hasn't quite hit fall yet.
Right. The hotter it is, the more I wear a jacket. Which makes sense.
You're going to start sweating.
I might already be.
You know?
But it's part of that, countering what is, which is part of my nature. Now, by the way, that's Intelligentsia. I go to Intelligentsia all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Shout outs to that wonderful location. I've gone to like 6 of them. And when I went to New York recently, I also went to Intelligentsia there. They had like a truck and they had...
No way. They have Intelligentsia in New
I was
York now?
shocked.
Whoa.
Yeah, at least a truck next to the hotel.
I knew Blue Bottle, but I didn't know Intelligentsia was back there.
Strong brands go places.
What were you doing in New York?
I went there. We had an excursion. I went all around. It was nice to be back since the last time I was there was 2021. Right as the whole country was getting afraid. Right as that happened. So the first day of my trip was cool. The last 4 days was people being like very fearful. So it was not normal New York experience. So I got to have the normal one.
So you got to go, yeah.
This
Great.
time. I must have yelled at maybe 3,000 people on the street. Very pleasant. Not yelled, but socialized. I was the most social person in New York for about a week.
I'm walking here.
I'm doing my stuff here on the corner.
You know, that was an improvised moment.
Which one? The one you just did?
I'm walking here. Yeah.
Nothing to do with anything?
Do you know the moment that I'm talking about?
No.
Dustin Hoffman.
We're going to need all the references. I'm not going to
Okay.
have them. Actress, non-actor.
I won't be a geek. It's okay.
No, we want. That's the whole.
But see, the problem is that I'm gonna forget the film title, which is just horrible. It's Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight in Midnight Cowboy, I think, and they're shooting on the streets of New York. I think it's the 70s, and the filmmaking at the time had a very authentic, sort of spontaneous feel to it. And so I think the scene was set like Dustin's supposed to be crossing the street, and as it would be on a film set, like cars are set to move at certain times, and this car drove into Dustin at the wrong moment when it was meant to be stopped. But what's great about him is he stayed in character and he just banged his hand on the car and like yelled at the cab driver. And then it makes cinema history.
That's skill right there.
So, yeah. That's what you're trying to catch. You're trying to set up all the pieces and then see if the lightning in the bottle will go.
I'm with that. I'm very spontaneous.
It doesn't often happen.
No?
But when it does, then it's like everybody can feel it.
Yeah, those are special moments. Spontaneity is big, and if you can go with it at the moment, that says a lot about your ability.
Yeah. Yeah.
I may have mentioned before, but experience with improv, Kat?
I've done it, but I don't, I'm not, no, it scares me. That's like the most scary thing to me, improv. I should revisit it. I'm an anxious person, so I just like freeze up a little bit.
Good news, we're doing some sort of similar at the end of this recording, so that's good. But I'll guide it. It's good. I'm a big fan of on the spot, unplanned. I'm a big fan of that.
But it's different when you're in character and a
That's
little
true.
bit. But yeah, I guess the same in improv. That's the idea.
Life is those things. If it's so planned, if every little step of something is planned, audiences cannot connect with it too much, because it might as well be their local news station.
Mm-hmm.
So the further it deviates from that, the more it's interesting and spreadable or shareable, I think, in some way.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why it is that way, but I agree.
We don't always want to see everything so calculated. Like it was already planned. Like even economists recently, they said in the economy, a lot of things are already priced in. Like, oh, the next 4 months of the country's or the election or this thing, those are already priced into prices, and that's not interesting. Like we already have the next year already planned into
So we
pricing.
like surprises, maybe?
They're pretty cool. Do you like surprises? Yeah.
I heard somebody say once, I like surprises when I like surprises.
That's
Sometimes you don't like surprises, though. That would be called like shock or
factor.
terror or whatever.
Right. I like them when I am glad to have them happening. Take away some of the, like an 80% surprise, I guess, not the full.
If I like the thing that's happening, I like the surprise.
That's a classic way. Just that segment of surprise is good. These ones, no.
Not so
I don't
good.
like those surprises.
Keep those. You can return those ones.
Keep them
Not
in the
for
area.
me.
I will not participate in that. That's good. You just categorize life, and life hands you what you want. It's a good way to go. Now, in the acting world, which you are in, there's a lot happen. Before we go into it specifically, I've spoken with you years ago. We are at a current moment now, and you have acting experience from before. Give me a little bit of, do you see differences in how acting has progressed from early on to now?
Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily one to speak about it because in the, history of filmmaking, I've been a part of it for such a short time. But from what I hear from friends who've, been doing it since like maybe the 80s, it's just completely changed. Like they remember when everything was shot on film and the independent films were really happening all the time. And I think that the landscape of the film industry is changing at such a pace that people within the industry don't even know what to expect. Like it's pretty wild. But it's exciting. Even just in I think COVID and then the strikes really changed everything. But I just keep coming back to, like you said, why am I doing it? What stories am I excited to tell? And what can I be creating as an individual who wants to contribute to the form? That's what I'm focused on.
It's good to go broad and then specific. Why do you do it in the current moment, Kat? If you had to describe the fulfillment aspect.
I'm in a moment where I'm very much embracing being a woman, and I want to speak to the stories that I'm hearing from my female friends of the moment, like what we're going through in terms of being in Los Angeles as a woman. And also I've had a story really close to my heart that I've wanted to tell that is my mother's experience. And I'm in the process of financing a short film, which I wrote, that will be sort of proof of concept for a feature that will cover, you know, her real life experience. So I'm really excited about that.
That's neat. That is almost like a letter from your heart, as some might call it.
That's a title of the movie that I was in.
Right.
that was the second feature film I did as a lead. So that was a indie film. I was going through a lot in my personal life, and that shot here in Los Angeles, and that was a super sweet sort of Hallmark type of story.
How would your current letter from your heart represent a message you want to say?
Oh, the film that I'm geared up to make, that's my mother's story, is much more, I would say, gritty. She was sexually harassed in the workplace and sued the person who harassed her and won. And this was sort of like after Anita Hill, but nothing like this had really happened before. So it was a huge deal for her to do. And, you know, pretty cool that she prevailed, although she endured a lot of backlash from it and lost friends. And yeah. So it's a much more, I mean, that story I would say is like lighthearted and feel good. And this story is much more like an Erin Brockovich, you know, fighting for what's right, even if it costs a lot.
Do you ever have that thing where you're thinking of an individual and then they reach out?
Used to happen to me a lot more, but it's been happening lately too. I remember being in New York and I was thinking about someone a lot, and I got on a subway and I looked over and he was there, and I was like, oh, that's kind of, I mean, New York City on a subway. Like, I don't know.
Right. Like, what's the likelihood of seeing the subway operator that you're always thinking about on a subway? Joke. Got her with the old joke. That's pretty good. But right, the likelihood is low. That's true. What are the chances? Long live the subway system there. Really fun.
Oh my God.
You
It's
just
the
roll
best.
through.
Well, some people would argue certain trains are not the best. The L or whatever. The Q and R.
I was on these, and they just go places. They were all great except for one. We got stuck, and they said there would be delays, then they got stuck. They kept saying we'd be delays. Finally, we didn't take the train. Other than that, all the other ones, great movement.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that system. And
Yeah.
it always,
LA needs to get on that.
the difference is in LA, you go there, and it feels like this is not really where things get done. But over there on the metro, it could be like 12:30 at night. You still feel like, yeah, we're going over there, everybody. There's a purposeful nature to it.
Yeah.
LA doesn't have that, and that's really hard to build in if it's not built in there. I always have this theme that locations have a feel to them or a nature that even if you wiped everything out and you waited 1,000 years, it would come back similarly. Check this. This is unrelated to it. I got to mention this. So the British Empire, they showed all the countries that it took over. It was a bunch of countries. The Mongol Empire, it showed a huge area that it was. These are the two biggest empires we've ever had.
Yeah.
They didn't really overlap because one has a certain nature, one had a certain nature. I'm sure if you gave it another 5,000 years, like certain personality types or nature would go in these regions, certain would go in these regions. Certain parts of Los Angeles will always be that way. If I just tomorrow nuclear bomb and then we have to rebuild it, I think like 400 years later, you'd have similar people in the similar places in some way.
Yeah, it's sort of like the meridian idea in
We need to know about the meridian idea. This
well,
is a learning show. I want to know.
Yeah. Well, so in Eastern medicine, there are meridian lines in the body. which are basically energy lines. So it would be maybe similar to where their blood flow systems or lymph systems, your nerves. And so those lines, they believe, if you put pressure on certain areas, it affects different organs and things like that. I would imagine, and I think there's a philosophy that those energy lines also exist on Earth. And so like what you're saying, basically, those energetics exist on the planet already, and therefore certain groups of people are drawn to certain areas of the land versus other areas of land. You could probably correlate it to maybe tectonic plates or other kinds of movements, I would imagine.
That relates.
Just making stuff up.
No.
Sounds like it would be right.
I think it is. And also, even they mentioned that people that moved from certain countries long ago to certain places, these were the people that were more likely to be risk-taking, for example. So you'd end up with more risk-taking people in that region. So in some ways, people are self-selecting to where they end up.
Similar skills. Yeah.
If I put you in Kansas tomorrow, you might not be in Kansas for a long time if it doesn't suit you completely.
I would just sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
I went back.
Like Dorothy.
I went back and recently listened to when you sang it before, and I rapped. I don't know if you recall, but I checked back. I rapped. You sang that. Your singing was golden. My rapping was okay. So theoretically, we can bring that back at a later point. I'm saving all of these for the end, the improv region of the discussion. The golden singing. Some people have a bunch of skills all in one. So, long time ago when people would drink water at the recess in the school, they would say, save some for the whales. Save some skills for the rest of the people. Okay? What the heck? I also am singing like this. But I can rap, so that's cool. So, numbers out here.
Plus, don't you play basketball?
I do. Recollection. Shouts to basketball. But not lately as much. But yeah, it's a great sport. They just started the NBA season. This is happening right now.
Ooh.
Yeah. First time they have father and son duo on the Lakers.
I saw that this morning.
That's the popular item. A lot of stuff is happening. Changes and upgrades to life. Now, to get to the improv section, first, we want to look into current moment items. Okay?
Yes.
Film, Kat.
Yeah.
Film. This is something you are participatory in.
Yes.
In an exceptional nature, as regarded by some viewers who have vision and hearing. Now, who talks like me? I'll still get an award for that. I'll look back 4 years later. What's those sentences, Armen? What's those sentences? That's funny. Now, you have been in many items, because I looked up online many different items you're a part of, which is cool. That's neat. You get to be part of so many groupings. And actually, I have a question related to that later on about exploring many different roles, which is something you brought up many years ago. I want to see if that occurred. Sometimes there are figures in the background that are just as influential, and they will not be the main story item.
Yeah.
But if they were not there, the other thing would not have occurred.
Absolutely.
Which is a crazy thing to think about, because usually you would think it would go from the extroverted, outgoing, on the front of the camera outward, but no. Sometimes from the back to the front.
Right? Yeah. I think we see people achieving so much and don't realize the armies of forces around them allowing that to be possible. There are so many people along the way that will touch your life and inform who you are and how you can go about things. It's important to be grateful and acknowledge those people, and
I think it's very important. Anytime, in a moment.
as we have our survival needs taken care of, art is a way for us to find meaning. It's in the moment that we're expressing ourselves that the soul is like liberated. And so that's why we value it so much. And you feel the human connection when you're witnessing a piece of art that makes you feel seen and understood and heard. I think that's why we value it.
Yeah, speak to us at our core level more than the day-to-day items. Nobody goes to a cubicle art piece on a Saturday, but on the weekend they might go see The Weeknd, and that will be artistic.
Yeah. The Weeknd. I think he's working on a opera right now. Can you believe it?
Yes. He could change his name to The Weeknight, and he performs on Thursday nights. Then later he's like during the day kind of a jazz pianist at a public place weekday. He has a lot of opportunity to really adjust his name. But he can't remove the E like he did with Weekend. Weekday. We'll talk about it. Maybe
did he remove the E at
like,
the weekend? Was there an E at the end of weekend?
Before, like
there was?
And then end. E-N-D. He cut out the E from E-N-D. So weekend is just week and then N-D. I feel like I'm an ambassador for him right now. Yeah, his name's not like Weekend.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've been misspelling his
Unbelievable. You've been affecting his brand, and then people now, they're like, what's the concert happening? No,
it's all just Kat's fault. What is she doing?
People are just like, so I'm just enjoying Saturday and Sunday. Is that the Weekend show? No. There's a performer. Oh, classic. Branding, right? Some sort of... We once talked about if you were a DJ, you'd be DJ Kat. So that would be potential branding there. Branding is key. This is what people take note of. Lady Gaga. That's her name. I got a lot of people's names in my head. I follow a lot of trajectories, which is neat. Now, if you have such a prolific career like that and are looked at in such a way, if you are then treating people as up to par, they walk through the day now with like, oh, look at me. I can do that thing. I can do this thing. I can also do that thing.
I can do anything. Oh, there. Yeah, look at me. Ooh.
I can turn left and right and then go straight and then left again. And then 8 months later, like, I did these 14 things. Huh. Maybe he was right in that regard. So it adds on to your self-esteem. That's a big deal right there.
Yeah. It's very kind. Very generous.
Yeah. With power comes potential responsibility, and it sounds like he was taking that into account.
Yeah. I would say so. Yeah.
Because you don't have to, right? You said
no.
that. You don't have to. You could just be like, hey, what do you want?
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing.
Yeah, or being very controlling and bossy, which he was not, Yeah.
That's the important thing. That lasts over time. The other thing, at some point, people are like, there starts to be a group of like 48 people. He was not cool. And then they're like, it just builds. But if you're cool and warm, it's nice and it's well received.
Yeah.
It's very important quality.
Truth prevails.
Truth prevails. Yeah, truth is strong and loud. Jordan Peterson, who I'm kind of mimicking here slightly, he would say that if you live a true life, it is the most bold life, and also it gives you like I don't know if he said like a shield or like it gives you a strength. You'll have things come at you, but you're living the roller coaster of life that actually is versus some sort of like numbed version, I think.
I like that.
Truth is a big deal when doable. You've worked with many in your career. That's cool. And then you have your presence that you bring to it in a calm nature. What do you think? How do you think people would... It's a tough question because I would answer this thing. Some people are not this way. How do you think people would characterize your presence among them? That's a tough one. Okay, that's just more from their description.
You answer that.
I think pleasant, warm, spontaneous, bringing peace, and actually off-putting, difficult to work with. Can't fit into any role. Causes all kinds of commotion on set.
Never laughing.
Not punctual.
Super serious.
All these
mean.
Name
calling.
Like, hi, it's me, Armen. Yeah, I know. I was like, whoa. And then I was like, hey, Kat, how's it going? It's way better earlier when you were not here. So rough jokes, okay. Pleasant, a lot of positive qualities. Quite a few. So yeah, save some for the other individuals out there.
Thank you, Armen.
In public. Hand them out. Someday go to some corner somewhere. I'm handing out positive life qualities. You hand out like 7 and you'll be within range of like, more of a, just an average. He's complimentary, but he also roasts. I should do more roasts. Yeah, and I don't even know. I didn't see you in Independence Day, and that's a movie I saw when I was young. So, are you even an actor? Are you even an actor? A long time ago, because I watched so few movies, I would tell people just like the 6 movies I had seen. So I just had them in my mind. Like, I'd seen that one. The Sixth Sense, I saw for some part of that for some reason.
It's a good one.
Office Space, one of my favorites.
Oh gosh, that's so good.
Yeah. So I will always like that. It's movies that really make a point about the general public always mean something to me. And they have funny characters. Or like the one guy that did rapping in Mean Girls. It's MC something. He went on the stage. Do you remember this guy? That guy was funny.
Mean Girls. I don't know.
It was like a movie.
No, I remember Mean Girls. I don't remember a guy who went on stage.
They had like
rapping.
a Christmas scene.
Yeah.
And then the guy went on stage and he's like, "Oh, you sucker MCs coming down with me." And then he was like doing some funny tone. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. And they said like, "Get off the stage, man." Something like that. I like those little, we always remember little tidbits, which is why TikTok got so popular. It just shows little tidbits and people can share those.
Totally.
Now, you have been in a variety of films. We have spoken about some before. It came to my mind, which ones do you think of when you think of, because you have a lot that you were part of.
The film where I got to play a Scottish character. I think it's Jesse. I forget what they called it. Stratton Castle.
You did that wonderful accent on 2020 episode.
But I did, yeah. So I, because my father is Scottish and I lived in Scotland and
a scientist,
getting to play a Scottish woman in the 1700s, it just was very meaningful to me, and that was probably the most easy in terms of I understood her instantly. Like the moment I first read the script at a table read without having any preparation of who this person was, I just knew what she would do and why she would do it. It was like I was her or something. It was very eerie and magnificent. I loved it. I love that character so much. I would do that movie again.
Well, good news. We actually have a crew here. We are starting a new recording here. We're going to be filming Glasgow and Edinburgh. And I will
Take me to the castle.
Yeah. We're going to Loughlin Castle near
We'll
Edinburgh.
go. I'm ready.
We're going there.
Okay.
I'm going to transport. No.
Okay, that's right. Let's go.
We're going to transport.
Oh, it turns into Indian pretty easily.
Well, we are going to transport you there. I had it.
By the way, though, the Indian food in Scotland is excellent.
Yes, I have heard that. And I was able to do it before.
You can do it if you hear it, I guess, right? It's like that.
You're right.
Yeah.
And if I can do it, I will. I will do it to the best of my ability.
You know who does a good Scottish accent is my mum, because she lived with my dad for so long.
She was recently in the episode.
So she comes out and then she says it. And you're like, "Mom, you grew up in Boston. How do you talk like that?" And she's like, "'Cause I do."
She's got that ability.
You just got to be like, up here and like that.
Sometimes when you've got the ability, you've got it in you.
You've got it.
You've got it more than me. I keep transitioning over to other. I had a little bit of it, but Indian more mine. I can do certain other ones too. But they have to for that movie. But this one is in Scotland, so we're bringing you back on. And yeah, it's gonna be in Glasgow. We're taking you to all the locks. You're gonna be at this
2025.
lock, then that lock, then the other lock.
Jesse visits the locks.
Yeah.
In the afterlife.
Right.
As a ghost.
That's scary.
Woo! Hey, didn't our last time we filmed was October as well? Because I had a pumpkin.
One was September, but one was maybe October. We have a theme here.
I
you did have
love
a
me
pumpkin.
some October.
She's trying to outdo me on remembering stuff from before. I remember stuff from before, okay? That's true. You had the pumpkin, and at some point the pumpkin fell. That relates to what I was describing. Multiple, and you connect to. That's called depth of connection, Kat. Depth of connection.
What else, Armen?
I got a bunch. Okay, you're not ready for all that. Also, just unprofessional, not punctual. I just want to bring back.
Oh yeah, we're bringing us back to why Kat is horrible to work with.
Horrible to work with.
She's the worst.
You're like, can you be on my right? She's on your left.
Stay away.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And it's just, who are these figures you mentioned? Al Pacino? Never heard of him. So, classic. You at once spoke about playing many different roles. I like having paper, by the way. This is kind of my thing. Like
I
a
know,
prop
you
or
should
something.
do it. That's helpful.
So basically,
Keeps you grounded.
Yeah. You wanted to play many roles. You wanted to explore many different roles and not be placed in a small cast grouping.
Mm-hmm.
How is that fleshed out? Because that was mentioned some years ago. Have you felt like it was reasonable? Do you think that it could be better? What are your thoughts on that as of the current moment? Have you explored some new roles, or they put you're always a librarian that is able to see colors?
I don't think it applies yet. I don't think it applies yet. I feel like I'm moving beyond the limitations. We're good. Stretching out. Playing all sorts of types of ladies.
That's cool. I like your depth. I said it before, but I like your depth of thought when you're, because it's like you're just seeing the moment, you're thinking through it, and you're also, you can feel the future kind of coming into the moment. That's neat. That's neat. That's good sense. Not everybody has it. These are things I notice. I notice details in people, so that's cool. You have like you have a bit of the future in your sense, the current moment, and depth of thought, connecting those, and also looking at the past, and that's good. So you have like a good networking mind. That's neat.
Past, present, and future.
Yeah. Dang. Try and put her in just a small cast grouping. Can't do it. That's not even a category I made up. What was it? Librarians that can only see colors, or can see colors. See, I come up with stuff on the spot. That's my
I want
job.
to play that lady.
That's my world. Well, is
the
that
librarian
green?
with the rainbow spectrometer. I don't know.
You got some of that synesthesia.
Yeah.
I see green. Where? It's right there. You don't see it? Oh, you can never relate with that person.
I feel it. I feel the green. Do you feel the green?
Do you feel it?
It sounds like...
That's the intro to our new techno song we're making. DJ Armen back in the building. I used to do beats. I have rapped a lot. This one I already checked on acting as far as the differences over time and the current filming landscape.
Yeah.
Take that world. And you were Coco. You were also Hope. Do you only play 4-letter named characters?
Seriously, man.
Right?
The heck?
Try to find like a 5-letter name, like
next time.
Alice.
Shirley. Lots of options.
Surely you can play Shirley.
Surely I can play Shirley.
I think so.
I
think you have what it takes. Now this part here, should I go to this part first? Yes. And then we'll do the interlude, then we'll come back. This is all planned out. This is good.
Okay.
All right. Connections to past talks. So I've had some past talks with various guests, right?
Yeah.
And some of the topics we talked about, I want to connect them to what you do. So it's a nice little linkage.
Mm-hmm.
I recently had Sophie Scott Brown on the show. She talks about anarchy and government and does lecturing on that. She talks about hierarchy. In filming. How important is structure such that the director is guiding everything and people are on board? And how much do you value hierarchy or structure in everyday happenings? Like, do you notice it when you're acting? Like, it's very clear, like, who's running what? Do you like that part? Or you're like, let me do my thing?
I like the guidance. I'm so creative that I need some container. So I think, yeah, I mean, there has to be a hierarchy on a film set. There has to be, the director has the final cut type of thing. I think in existence as a philosophical idea, I would like to move beyond hierarchy and experience reality beyond people being above each other or below each other, and just, dancing in life. But sometimes you need the structure.
From structure can come things sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Valid point.
Decision making, I think hierarchy is very important when whenever you're trying to accomplish a goal or something like that, like, yeah.
Yeah, like a team, right? You
Yeah.
need a big team, like the
Yeah,
camera
it's a
crew that I had
huge
earlier.
team. My God,
Bunch of
it's
people.
such a that was really that was just so eye-opening, seeing all the people that it takes to make a film. It's beautiful. The set, the lighting, it's incredible. It's a very exciting place to be.
Mm-hmm. And you want each person doing their thing in their skilled way, like camera people. The same way we had this setup prior. I was a different human being and did that setup. But usually there's people for that, people for the audio, people for the lighting, locations,
100%.
where are we going to film?
Oh my gosh.
Who are we going to pick? Who are we going to put in that
Everything,
part?
makeup, the costumes, the writer, the person who's keeping track of every shot that's made. I mean, I could just go on and on and on. It's really endless.
The person who analyzes to make sure the story is matching up with everything that they wrote and like the past history.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of steps to it. A lot of steps.
It's really cool.
I recently thought to myself when I passed Universal Studios that I realized that meant like Universal Studios, like studios where they would record things. Like I didn't put it together before.
Oh.
Just some entertainment for the world out there. Which there's a lot of those, which is great. They're basically like places to do. I was thinking about it because until you make stuff, you don't realize, oh, that's just like a higher end version of the stuff that I make.
Yeah.
With way more advanced features, which is neat. This one's on Details.
Okay.
Details. I talked with Gwendolyn. She's at Cal Poly Pomona, and talks about, I believe, philosophy. She talked about details. She has a podcast called Get Into the Details, about getting really detail oriented. Do you like getting deep into the details of what you're working on, whether it be a film or writing that you are doing? So that's a clear no. And so not at all, huh? Just avoid that. Would you rather handle the details or let someone else?
Oh my God. Well, I love both. I love broad sort of general strokes, but I also am like obsessed with visual details, anything specific. I can go into rabbit holes really quickly and endlessly. So I want to see her too. Details.
Well, she's not going to want to see you because she just found out you're a fibber. You can't fit in a rabbit hole. It's too small, Kat, and you're larger than that. But that's true. She would probably be fond of that. And that's what her thing is about, getting into details on things, because that's where some of the intricacies and interesting elements are of any category, whether it's like MMA or fishing or film or math or
well, that's
wars.
also what's so fun about being an actor is you can dive into all these different arenas of life. Like, I don't know if you've seen, but Angelina Jolie just has played Mary Cassatt, who is an opera. No, not Mary Cassatt. She's a painter. Maria. Anyway, she was an opera singer, and Angelina Jolie is playing her, and was able to learn how to sing and learn how to be someone who performs on stage in that way, and all about this woman's life and the things she has experienced. It's so much fun to be an actor because you play. I mean, it's like being a little kid. You get to play pretend and use your imagination for these different life circumstances that you otherwise never would. Like, it's so much fun. Pretend to be a painter, pretend to be a Scottish servant, pretend to be, a psychology major. You get all these different nuanced details that you can dive into.
This is a big life concept for a general public. I always think that there's quite a bit of pretending happening all around, but not much of it is maybe preferred pretending. Whereas if you are pretending in this way you're describing, it keeps you youthful. You're like, I want to try that. I'll try that. This one's cool. This one's got elements of this.
Yeah.
Versus if you're just pretending one thing that was forever in one category, that might not be as keeping you young in that way. That's a cool way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can imagine that life. You don't have to travel to that nation. You might just pretend you're a fisherman off the coast of the Philippines, and what's that like? And then something else, and what's that like? And now you expanded your mind.
Yeah. One is like a limiting pretending, and one is an expansive pretending.
Right. That's another reason people don't want to work with Kat. She's so limiting, and we want people who are unlimited and really just want to expand outside their framework. Really limiting. I'm more of a roaster than a complimenter, I think, but I like complimenting too. I love roasting. It's the best thing ever. What? That's a mirror? I can't even see myself. I roasted a mirror there. So, and the third one I want to connect to. So details. All right, that's cool. Yeah. Gut feeling. Okay. I've talked about the gut.
Okay.
And I talked about, we had a show, Amanda and Emran. Amanda, the surgeon, and Emran's a gastroenterologist whose book is The Mind-Gut Immune Connection. They talk about gut as far as some of the flora, the microflora, and the bacteria. But this is taking it somewhat related to that, but also the gut feeling that we have about where to go and what to do and what not to do. How does your gut feeling guide your decisions? Do you make use of it? We want to know about your microflora.
I just listened to a really cool, maybe it was from you. I listened to a really cool.
Did you hear that? She just listened to a cool, and maybe it was from me. Long live the Armen Show. Who knows where it was, but that's nice.
Yeah, it could. I think it was. It was a microbiome gut flora doctor saying that when he comes across unhealthy patients, he puts gloves, and when he's with healthy patients, he doesn't, and he tries to kind of get their bacteria as much as he can. So I'm very much into all that in terms of like physically and physical health and all that. I mean, I would like to say that I let my gut guide me all the time, but that's probably a lie. I mean, sometimes I have to override a gut feeling and dance in life and tolerate things that don't feel great, as we all do, I would imagine. And, but more and more, I think I'm attuning to being guided by intuition rather than an external idea of how I ought to be living.
Yeah. Deep. There's a lot of past knowledge in our gut. Somewhere in there's a lot of centuries of experience.
Did we talk about this before? And then you can see in the language, culture is a word we use when we're talking about a culture of bacteria in a petri dish. It's also the word that we use to describe populations of people, a culture. So it's very likely that they're correlated. It's not a coincidence. People who are like each other share bacteria.
I don't think we brought that one up, but that is neat.
Isn't
frankly.
that the coolest?
Yeah,
I remember hearing that and being like, oh my God, my mind is blown.
Culture. It's true. I thought about it in some ways, like if there's a group of individuals that you're overseeing, or let's say a teacher of a kindergarten class to the kids, you want to lead them, but you don't want to do too much. That's like a scientist touching the petri dish where the bacteria are growing. You got to let it grow naturally. So it's kind of like a culture that way.
Aww.
And if you touch the petri dish, you're going to mess up the growth of that bacteria, and you have to redo the experiment.
Oh, I like that.
Same way with people, if you're kind of overseeing a group in some way with
Children
a hierarchy.
are just like experiments.
Or even life hierarchies. Experiments. Let's just, these 400 people.
Uh-oh, we messed up those experiments. Better move on to the next group.
We are relocating. It was like we were never here in the first place. Oh, no.
Sorry, kids.
Sorry, guys. But we do have these treats. There's some sweets, sprinkles. We've got sprinkles.
Go take a nap.
You'll never
Reset.
see us again. Right. There's playtime and sprinkles. We're going to be gone.
Okay. See you later.
See you later, guys. Man. We would lead a kindergarten class very well. Kids, it's time to... No, we're gone. Actually, no. Good luck. We messed up too much. You guys, petri dish. Do you understand? You don't understand?
No.
I'm now from Europe, That's funny. Now, before I go to rapid fire questions, some of my added regions, and the fun section, we are going to reach our interlude portion.
Okay.
we're back on the scene. It's me and Kat right here. And Kat, I have some rapid fire questions
Okay.
and then some various topics. And then ideally we can rap and sing. So, all right, rapid fire questions here. What place do you want to go to, if any?
Japan.
What about it? Because a lot of people are liking Japan lately.
Well, my friend from high school is there right now, and so she's posting on Instagram all the cool clothes and skincare and nails and everything. That makes me want to go there. But also, my cousin, who is the closest thing I have to a sister because I'm an only child, she's half Japanese. And so I've always wanted to go because I feel a little Japanese in my heart because of my cousin, who's like a sister.
That's cool to have that. You're an only child.
I'm an only child. That's why I'm so impossible to work with.
Yeah, I mean, no, my roasting is done. But so that's your interest. And so I have some elements. I do have a brother, but I have some elements of that in the way my upbringing occurred. What's it like to be an only child? Does it shape? What do you think it shapes about you?
Probably my imagination and my desire to be alone a lot. My creativity.
Right. Because you fill it in for yourself. One person, by the way, unrelated to exactly that element, that's a cool element, by the way, but it's easier to raise 8 children than it is to raise very few because they all hang out with each other and they kind of raise each other. But if there's one.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. But then that one can become very resilient or innovative or creative. So the dynamics, it says a lot. Older child, younger child, it affects a whole life. And it's just from those early years. Because later on, people go and do their thing. But that it affects the way they act in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to see more of in society? You can't say Armen's.
More joy, more rest, more taking care of each other.
Sounds very healthy. Sounds very healthy to me. It's packed with health. Cool. That's cool. Joy. Is there a shortage of joy or you like to see more of it?
I mean, maybe it's just being in Los Angeles, but I encounter so many of my friends being under a tremendous amount of stress all the time.
Right.
And it's sort of like this looming element. And there are variables as to why, but it seems like there's like an imposed, I don't know, looming stress that's unnecessary. Joy.
Joy. Happy.
Happy.
I don't see a stress sign, so that's not in there. Right. We like to see that. Is there, this is a deep, well, I don't know if it's a deep question, but if there's a looming doom in society, are there more movies made with like doomsday scenarios? Or is there any kind of link like that where society is a certain way and now suddenly there's more films to speak to that?
I'd have to go back and look. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Right.
I think it's a reflection of our subconscious.
It's deep down in there. Where is a place you feel at peace? And you can't say here because I feel at peace here, but I guess you could say here. Okay, you could say here and potentially one other place.
Where do I feel at peace? Definitely by the ocean. In the sand, looking at the ocean.
Makes sense. A person's surroundings are very representative of them. Your surroundings are peaceful and have all kinds of variation and calm things and nature and positive messages and life and usability. There's a nice message there. Yeah. One time you spoke about finding meaning for existence through art. Have you continued to find meaning for your own existence through the art you make? Or did you already find it before and now you're just it already occurred? You already found meaning, and at some point you've already passed the part
I
of
found
finding
it. Done.
located.
Great.
Onward
Done with
we
that.
go.
Here we go. Yeah.
Next step. Collecting
No,
blueberries.
I think it's a continual. You're finding different meanings. You're finding nuances to the meaning. Yeah. I don't even remember saying that, so.
Something related to that, right? That was way back because it goes way back.
But it sounds good.
Right. I thought it sounded. That's why I wrote.
Yeah,
I took a note on it.
I need to remember that.
The good news is with current technology, you can take past content theoretically and put it in like my system.
Recycle it.
Not just recycle, but you put in like my Riverside FM that I use for online or other services, and it can summarize or it can tell you takeaways or keynotes or
Isn't
quotes.
that great?
It'll,
AI, baby.
It'll run through an hour like that.
It's really nice.
It's a neat feature because I didn't want to do the tech stuff. I know you're very excited about doing all the tech stuff and you love technology and just getting all into the nitty gritty of cameras and audio and all that. But not me, not as much as that. So having that there is really useful. Or doing the show notes or things like that. Oh, how much of roles you have been in or the role you would like it to be versus the role that it is? Or is that unrelated?
What is the question? You mean
like the roles you have been in, how much of it is you're like, hey, this is me and what I would want to be in that role versus they're like, this is the role we want people to just do exactly that role.
Oh, I see.
Is there any sort of meshing there?
I haven't encountered a situation where I'm being forced to do a role in a way that isn't what I wanted or what I imagined. Luckily. I think probably in order to be cast at all, they'll have to there has to be some synergy, and the other creators probably see something in me both personally and creatively that will bring a character to life. Yeah. But I really do think the performances that we love are whoever's portraying the character using something inside to bring something to life that means something to them. Like, I don't know that if someone feels forced to play something a certain way, it probably lands flat, I would guess.
Right. There's got to be some sort of fit. It's got to speak to you. Oh, that was a question I had. How much of acting, let's say in like a sitcom or like a TV show, might be you just are that and they're like, oh, okay, you have this nature. We're putting you on the...
More and more acting is becoming what you just said. More and more, because we're using such tight close-ups, it's like a, it's like a remix of the person's personality. We still see big characters. I mean, that's what's fun about Modi is these people were able to play people that are very dissimilar to who the actors are in real life. And at the same time, it reads truthful and authentic. And I think that's my favorite type of art to watch in acting, is like the inner life is very honest and truthful, and at the same time there's still expression and passion and surprise. Because if you observe people in real life, people are very animated. It's not like this very, subdued, quiet music video. So that's my thought.
People have internal animation they're always showcasing. Even people you're like, oh, not so much. There's something there. There's signs. People are alive. It's not even easy to be alive in the first place. just to get to that point is a big statement. So how much can someone be subdued but still alive? It's a very uncommon thing, and there's a lot of reactions going on underneath the surface just to keep us going. I saw a recent slice of a cell in really high detail. That cell looks like a darn solar system.
Yeah.
There's like communities going on in there, and that's a cell. And then we have how many? So I just moved billions of communities. Then I just moved billions of communities.
I love it.
They're all traveling. They're like, oh, we're going over there to leftistan and rightistan. A lot of traveling going on. Now, some broader theme here. I do check because I look at society. What are you liking about the direction of society right now, if anything?
I love that there's an emphasis on mental health and food and wellness and, looking at our own psychological patterns and reflecting. Seems like we're moving in a direction where people are thinking about self-care and wellness and health.
I got the top segue in the world. So the opposite of mental health could be like disjointed, disharmony. Okay, here's the scene, all right? We are having an argument. I really wanted lettuce, and you didn't get lettuce. Okay?
Okay.
Here we are. Are you serious? You didn't get the lettuce?
You really wanted lettuce.
Yeah, for the salad. I was going to make it that's the last thing that I needed.
You really needed lettuce.
Yeah, it would really make a huge difference. Like, I don't know how you don't see that.
I do see that.
You're not that difficult. This is it almost seems like I'm. So I'll just go get the lettuce. That was quite reasonable. So the disharmony was limited in that piece. Back to the hard to work with. You know what I'm saying? Hard to work with. Jokes. That's pretty good. Long live arguments. I once did a clip where I did an argument with a person on the street. I was like,
what did you guys argue about?
I was like, you never. Oh, she was wearing sequins. I was like, the sequins again? She's like, yeah, you said you liked them. And I was like, I can't believe you got them this time. And there was like 50 people around. This was like on Hollywood Boulevard.
That's funny.
Entertainment out there. That was one scene right there. I've done this before once. What is the question you have for myself? We're doing a flip around.
What are you most excited about the rest of the year before the end of 2024?
Quite a few things. You know what? And it's similar. You look into excitement and passion. That's a theme. That's because you're looking at where the person lights up. That's nice. Also with good lighting. Shout outs to that. I'm excited about quite a few things in terms of creation, my content, and then people. Moments like this. Shout outs to moments like this. No moments like this. Can't beat that.
A moment like this, some people wait a lifetime.
But we're coming back to that because there's a rap and song portion. Jeez, I was like, wait a minute, you skipped a step. That was nice. That's what I was talking about.
Can't we just use that? It was
yeah, I guess.
Spontaneous.
Yes, it was spontaneous. That was cool.
Shout out to Kelly Clarkson, by the way.
Right. Did she sing that you just sang?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. That's cool as heck. For that portion. But wait, before I get to that portion, I was saying lighting. Oh, well, lights up. Halloween.
What you're excited about.
Halloween will be great. I'll do a lot of socializing there. Not as much as I did in New York. Long live New York. You can socialize with like 4,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
And they forget you the
best.
next day. Like you could say,
New York.
I was just yelling and saying stuff. And if you're running in Central Park, you can say stuff. And if it doesn't land well, you're gone in 4 seconds because you're running. I must have said so many things to groups and groups. It was the best thing. How are you all doing? No? Okay. Next group.
Well, they're used to a lot of crazy people there too.
Yeah.
So
some thought that, I'm sure.
they're probably concerned.
Some were concerned, but some were glad. So I just
focus on the glad ones.
people. Right. Some were definitely, there's that element there. So I wouldn't recommend it for others, but I really was glad. And then you could just, there's no shortage of sections and sections. And I really would, I think in 6 months, I would be known there. Even though it's supposedly New York is bigger than, I theoretically, at some point, theoretically. But I would definitely be known like, oh, that guy. I know that guy. So Halloween, because I'll be socializing in that capacity in some way. I may be Mario. I was a vampire. I'm not sure what I'll be. Super Mario. Not bragging or anything. And some planned talks, reading. I'm always reading. And the weather is golden. So that is ideal for the next 7 months.
So good.
Right? Refreshing much. Those are some of the things. Turning it around on you. What are some items that you're excited for prior to the end of the year?
I'm excited also about Halloween. I'm doing on my Instagram a countdown of my favorite spooky, scary Halloween movies. So if anybody out there is interested in those, check out my Instagram because I'm doing a countdown for the next 10 days. Oh, although this probably won't go out until...
They'll definitely notice at least a couple of days of the countdown.
You can check it out aftermath.
They'll get like 3 days of countdown.
Yeah. So, and then what else am I excited about? I'm excited about filming this short.
With your co-creator, related to?
Yes, with
your co-creator.
Well, my mama.
Yep.
She's a co-creator. She's the OG co-creator. And yeah, and probably just the holidays. I love this time of year. Holidays, family time, maybe slowing a little bit down, spending time with loved ones and animals and the ocean.
Long live the ocean. So now I'm going to do a rap, okay? I'm going to do my rap, and then maybe afterwards, pretend I'm like the verse, you're the chorus, okay? You're the chorus. So feel free, just whatever. And it's unplanned, but that's how you gotta do it in life. Am I getting a beat? Okay, if you give me a beat, then I'm give you a. Should I give you a beat on your chorus, part 2, or no?
No.
No. All right, great. Boom.
Boom. Boom. Boom. Boom.
I'm doing it right now. It's Kat Fairaway in the spirit. We're doing it at her house right now. Can you all hear it? I'm rapping like that guy that got the skills you can't take away. They're like, Armen, how you do it? It's like on basketball, there's a fadeaway. I shoot it and make 3 points. They're like, how that skill is. I'm in the place that is the city of Venice. They didn't expect all of this at the moment with her. Actress in the world. She's like, I do deserve the things that I reach for because I am rewriting the history of myself and I am reciting the way that I go. I got the master flow and we rap like this. It was on the Armen Show. Boom. That's tough transition. And I'll lead into it. I had
an idea and then it just really fell flat.
Yeah, it was the way I transitioned. It didn't leave much room. And now.
I love my
the great Kat Fairaway makes her way to the stage. No, I can't sing a transition to it. How do you lead into a chorus? I can lead into a rap. And now she's about to go here.
I forget what I was going to do, Armen. I give up.
Okay, I'll give you a topic. How about a topic? Us floating like feathers through existence.
Floating like feathers, floating by. Floating like feathers, off fly.
It's like I went to a different world out there.
I cannot.
That's a classic.
You might just have to cut this part.
I'm not cutting this part.
The
parts she says to cut
are
my favorite parts. It's not even my stuff. That's one thing I would never, in film, they cut millions of things just to make a film, right? That is so anti-me. It's like we have these 400 things. It's a 900-hour movie. Enjoy the movie, guys. It starts on a Monday.
To all the financiers out there who want to make a 900-hour movie, you know the man to hire.
Ready to go. We got 14 angles. We're going to play all 14 angles.
Armen is ready for you.
It's going to be a extended cut. EC. Like extended play.
The most extended cut of all time.
Are you fond of long movies?
I am.
Movies? You are.
I am. Anytime someone complains about the length of a movie, I'm like, I don't agree. I don't have time for those people who complain about the length of a movie.
Right.
It's not about length. It's about what is being captured, and is it captivating? Is it holding the attention? So for a good film, I can sit and watch and watch and watch.
Long form, short form, not a big deal as long as it's got essence,
Yeah.
captivation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That is cool right there. My last question for you, which I can't believe, who wants to, but this is my last question, Kat, because the challenge of Kat, what is a message you would want to let people know in 2024? I always like to throw that in at the end there. Why is it the end? Gosh, we don't know. But what's a message you would want to tell people if you had a megaphone? Not that we all walk around with megaphones, but to the general public in 2024. Anything that resonates with you, recent theme, something you'd want to say to the public.
Something like close your eyes, take a deep breath. Whatever you're seeking is inside.
There you go. Can't believe I have this
Thank
test.
you, Armen.
Can't believe I have this task, but Kat, glad to have you on the program.
You're amazing.
Joining once more into the future with potential for future. On this one, the Armen Show, Kat Fairaway, representing actress, filmmaker, director, writer, all the things. Glad to have you back on the program.
Can't wait till next time.
Me too. And we are out.